Yo, what's up guys? Chase the Burrow here, and welcome back to another Dark Souls 3 patch notes video. That's right guys, there's another patch on the way, and honestly that came a lot faster than I believed it would. The last one was pretty recent. I wasn't expecting a new patch so quickly. But yeah, it comes out on Friday, May the 12th, and I posted the Reddit link below so you guys can follow along. Alright bros, let's get into this. So the first issue they're going to fix is an issue where the first spell would disappear if either Seething Chaos or Crystal Hail was used twice in succession. So if you tried to use either of those spells and follow them up, the first one would disappear. I wasn't running my spellcaster build in this time frame, so I never had this experience, but I can imagine that would be very annoying. Moving on, we have a change to the Leto's Great Hammer. Now in PvP battles, the second attack of the Call to Stone, which is the weapon art, can now be cancelled by rolling immediately after successfully delivering a different attack to the enemy. Now, by second attack, I assume they mean the heavy attack of the weapon art, not the initial L2, and you're able to roll out of it by successfully delivering a different attack to the enemy. And I'm not exactly sure what they mean by that wording, because how would you possibly cancel out the heavy attack by landing a different attack? Are you able to switch between like the heavy attack of the weapon art to like a light attack? Is that what's going to happen, or are you able to just roll out of it? These are things I'm going to have to see because I can't really tell by the way it's worded. This next one is hilarious and I wish it had happened to me, but sadly it never did. They're fixing an issue where 2 Spears of the Church were occasionally summoned. So I imagine some poor guy went to fight the Spears of the Church and 2 random guys got summoned to fight against him. Imagine he was alone without like a teammate. That would be so difficult, although I really would have enjoyed the challenge personally, but for people who don't play this game as often as I did, that would probably be immensely hard. Speaking of the Spears of the Church, there's actually going to be a buff for them. There's going to be an increase in absorption and stamina recovery speed when summoned as a Spear of the Church in a world with 2 or more white spirits. So, when you're summoned and you're fighting a host with 2 or more white spirits, you're going to get extra absorption and extra stamina recovery speed, which is a bonus because they did nerf it in the last patch, so they're maybe trying to bring it back. They realize they failed, and I'm hoping it goes well. Next up, we have a decreased cooldown time for Ritual Spear Fragment and Divine Spear Fragment when summoned as a Spear of the Church in a world with 2 or more white spirits. So the same thing goes here. There's going to be less of a cooldown time for the Spear Fragment and the Divine Spear Fragment if you're fighting a host that has 2 or more white spirits. This one's pretty random and pretty out there, but they're going to be fixing an issue where following certain steps could make the Ring City Streets bonfire inaccessible. I have no idea what those steps are because that has never happened to me, nor anybody that I've heard who's played the Ring City, so it must be very, very strange to have that happen, and I have no idea how to have that happen. They're also fixing an issue where the player was unable to use the bonfire despite having defeated the Demon Prince in the Dreg Heap. So I'm guessing after you fought the Demon Prince, they weren't able to light the bonfire. That's a small issue. You don't really ever use that bonfire anyway, but it's good that they're fixing that. Next up, we have an issue where further progress was disabled when interacting with the Crystal Sage clone in a certain way. So, what? So, because some poor guy went and fought or interacted with the Crystal Sage clone, he was unable to progress further? What? That poor dude, whoever had that happen to them, man, good for you, but I have no idea. I don't know how that possibly happened. On a positive note for those who use whips, there's going to be an animation cancel now available for whips, except for the Rose of Ariandale. I never use whips, so this won't affect me at all, but for all you guys who PvP with whips, bonus for you. And yes, the Ring Knight paired Greatswords are finally getting a nerf, but only by reducing their rotation capabilities. But that was kind of needed, because they could rotate insanely. You can just click the L1 and just steer all the way around. It was retarded. On the darker side of life, they're actually getting a buff. They're decreasing the stamina consumption for the attacks, and they're increasing the attack power of the Ring Knight paired Greatswords. Come on guys, you need to not buff the already beast weapon. I honestly don't care about the damage increase. I feel like it's not going to be that much. What I care about is the stupid hitbox. Fix the damn hitbox. When someone does the regular L1 where they charge at you, that shit hits you from like 5 meters away. I can't space those weapons because they're not programmed correctly. Fix them. They're also fixing an issue where the art for the Ring Knight paired Greatswords could still be performed when there was insufficient FP. So, these weapons can use the weapon art even if you don't have FP. Great. Good thing they're fixing that. I never even knew that, but yeah. See, I don't use these swords. I have skill. I don't need cheese. Next up, they're fixing an issue where the combination of the Lothric Warbanners art and the Aquamarine Dagger would result in FP continuously replenishing. That's strange because neither of those weapon arts do that. I have no idea how that could have triggered that, but I guess that's why it's an issue, right? So they're going to fix that. They're also increasing the attack power and motion cancel speed for Call to Stone, so that's the weapon art of the Leto's Great Hammer. So they're increasing the attack power of that. I mean, I honestly don't care, but it seems strong enough as it was, but I guess they want it to be a little bit more powerful. Also, they're increasing the attack power for the skill attached to the Quakestone Hammer. I kind of agree with that. That weapon art is pretty slow, so I feel like it should be doing some hefty damage. Alright guys, this next one doesn't make sense to me, so you're going to have to fill me in. I'm a little bit stupid, apparently. They're decreasing the attack power and R1 projectiles of the Blade of Peril, which is the skill attached to Gale's Greatsword, but Gale's Greatsword doesn't have any projectiles. What the hell do they mean? I assume they're just decreasing the power of the weapon art followed up by the light attack, but that's not a projectile. He's using his sword. I have no idea what they're talking about with the projectile. But if they're just decreasing that attack, I guess that's kind of needed. That true combo was pretty overpowered. I even made a video on it. I loved that sword. Alright, this next one has me cheesed a little bit. They're increasing the attack power and decreasing the stamina consumption for the Farron Greatsword. Now, I hate fighting that weapon, alright? Next to spears, that is my least favorite weapon to fight. Its stupid L1 gets me every time and I can't parry it, and its area of attack is crazy. So that one bothers me a little bit, but you know what? Maybe I'll conquer my greatest enemy by learning how to wield it. I've never used the Farron Greatsword, so you know what? I'm going to make a build around it if it's getting a buff, and I want to try it out. So, there. Next up, we have a decreased stamina consumption when attacking with the Dark Drift. I honestly never use the katana, but whatever, less stamina consumption. Good for whoever uses that, I guess. And then there's an increased animation cancel speed for the Dark Drift skill attached to the Dark Drift. So, is the Dark Drift's weapon art the same as all the other katanas? Because I never use it. I'm assuming it is, where they sheath it, and yeah, so you can animation cancel that. Weird. Alright. Never used it, so I don't know what I'm talking about here. They increased the bleeding attack power for the Bloodlust skill attached to Bloodlust. Alright, so they're upping the bleed rate. That's kind of good. Bleed has been nerfed a little bit. I've been attempting to use a bleed build with a hollow weapon and Carthus Rouge, and honestly, it's really hard to get someone to bleed. I have to keep the pressure on them the entire time, so I really hope they up bleed for a lot of weapons, or even like hollowing. That would be great. Alright, so they're increasing the luck for poison, bleed, and hollow infused Astora Straight Swords, and decreased stamina consumption for the Astora Straight Sword. Alright. I never use that weapon that often, so that's not going to affect me that bad. They're decreasing strength and dexterity of the Sunlight Straight Sword. I seen that coming. That weapon was OP as fuck. So, I was expecting that. That's not a big deal. They're decreasing the stamina consumption of the Aquamarine Dagger's Crystal Blade skill. Wow, I'm surprised. With like 30 dexterity, I was able to attack with that thing all day long. I'm surprised it's going to get less stamina consumption. But, whatever. They're increasing attack for the repeating crossbow. They definitely should. I haven't used that yet, but I plan to, so I'm liking that it's getting a buff as I'm about to make that build. That's very nice. Thank you. There is also another thing pertaining to the repeating crossbow. Apparently they're fixing an issue where no more stamina was required to use the repeating crossbow weapon art when the player did not have the minimum stats. So when someone didn't have the minimum stats and they used the weapon art, it didn't consume any stamina. Is that what they're talking about? Because they word these things like a child. I have no idea what they're talking about. They're also fixing an issue where if a female character or a male character wearing the reversal ring used the repeating crossbow's weapon art, the character would move forward without any analog stick input. So I guess you would just walk forward. That's a small, minor issue they're fixing. They're also fixing an issue where the effectiveness of the Preacher's right arm did not decrease when the player did not have the required intelligence. That's pretty overpowered. I wish I would have known about that at the time. I could have used that. No, I'm joking, but it's good that they're fixing that. They're also fixing an issue where the weapon reinforcement effect of the right hand weapon was applied to the left hand equipped with Preacher's right arm when performing the Feasting Branch skill. Man, I missed out on all the Preacher's right arm things. I have yet to use that, so I think I should really get to it. Everyone was telling me that it's pretty beast, so I'm gonna get to using that. They're also fixing an issue where the Unfaltering Prayer effect was retained when casting certain miracles and quickly casting another spell afterwards. They're fixing an issue where activating Wrath of the Gods miracle through a catalyst held in the character's right hand, the idle time after the spell cast was longer than it should be. So, fixing that. They're decreasing the vitality recovery when using the projected heal miracle. That, I guess, I guess I welcome that. And what do they decreased vitality recovery? I think they mean vigor. They wrote the wrong stat there, but okay. I kind of agree with that, though. People were using that to heal themselves in PvP, and it was pretty quick. So that's fair. They're also increasing stamina consumption of lightning arrow and decreasing stamina recovery speed while the player is drawing the bow. I guess that's fair. A lot of people have been using the lightning arrow like repeatedly throughout PvP. You come across some faith builds and that's all they use. I switch between all my miracles. I'm fair, but some people just hold the arrow there and wait for you to roll and try to roll catch you. So that is a welcomed decrease, I guess. They're fixing an issue where players could parry the flame fan. Man, I wish I would have tried that. That would have been hilarious, but that should not be a thing. You shouldn't be able to parry a pyro. And that's pretty much it, guys. Let me know what you think of everything in the comments. I do agree with a lot of them. There are some I disagree with, of course, but nobody's perfect. They're doing the best they can, I assume. And let me know if you guys enjoyed this video, because I know a lot of people don't check Reddit or any posts, or they're not in like Dark Souls community pages, so they might not know about the patches upcoming. I thought this might help out a lot of you guys. And honestly, I hate reading, and I'd rather discuss it with people, so I figure I may as well talk about it in a video. Let me know if you enjoy the video by liking the video. That really helps out my channel, guys. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Chase the Bro out.